Hello out there in Virus Land. You have entered the strange and wonderful world of New Hampshire history. Hi, I'm Jim Shepard, and this is the first of a series of approximately 15-minute videos. These will be weekly. The intent is to give you an idea of where I'm looking for all this information to end up. Sometimes we get confused in history trying to accumulate information, but what does it all mean? So, please make the video the first stop in your studies each week. I will have the videos available immediately as they are available, as is the section captioned readings. But it'll be a big help to you to review the video before going on. So, New Hampshire, great history. Of course, we got the obligatory map. This is what we think of as, New Hampshire. Those are the lines that have been drawn on the map, largely by Europeans, it's interesting the way the people and the culture have developed around the land. By the way, one thing, we've got the map out here on the west side, the Connecticut River. Keep that in mind because it's a huge divide. By the way, it will be helpful if you stop by one of the rest areas on 93 or wherever you happen to be and pick up a copy of the New Hampshire highway map. It's got a fair amount of detail. It helps put things in perspective, and I think you'll find it useful. Plus, it doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. The taxpayers already pay for it. So, in addition to that, you will need the book. The book is by Heffernan and Stecker. I usually refer to it as the Stecker text. There are 3 editions floating around. This is the first edition, New Hampshire Cross Currents and Its Development. There's the second edition, again, same title, and the third edition. You only need one of those, and any one of them will do. I have checked the used book market because it is out of print. For heaven's sake, don't order it from Amazon. They had a couple of copies and they were over $100. It's a great book, but it's not worth $100. My suggested source is abbooks.com. That's abe.com. And I've seen second editions for as little as $7 delivered. You'll want to get on that, though. Don't neglect, other students have taken the course. The course has been going on for a few years now, so you may be able to beg, borrow, or steal one. And as a last resort, I do have copies available for rental. If you need that option, please email me for details. Do that directly at jshepard@ccsnh.edu. Please don't use the thing on Canvas unless it's necessary. There are other resources out there, certainly. We have the wide world of the internet. There are 3 newspaper sources that I will put in. John Harrigan writes a great column which is carried in the Salmon Press newspapers. Down this way, it's the Winnisquam Echo. There's the Guilford Steamboat, or whatever it is, up on that side of the lake. Well worth looking at. The Weir's Times carries a fair amount of historical stuff. And there's also, in the Union Leader, Aurora Eaton's column looking back She does a lot of Manchester stuff, but her general New Hampshire history is also very good. By the way, all of those are accessible free. I like free stuff. I think it's something to do with being from New Hampshire. Anyway, the you'll need to check in at least a couple of times a week. This course won't save you any time, but if but it will save you driving back and forth to the college. It will also help keep us all contagion free. Yippee! Please follow the directions on the assignments. It's not that difficult. The syllabus is posted on Canvas and is available as we speak. And so it'll be hopefully an interesting experience. I hope you'll participate enthusiastically in the discussion boards. There were 2 discussion boards, so please keep those straight. One is for news relating to New Hampshire and New Hampshire history, and then the general discussion board. So here we go, and I'm keeping within my time limits, which is amazing. I haven't gotten off onto any particular tangents yet. Give me time. In any event, New Hampshire, the first week we'll be talking or looking at the geology of the state. New Hampshire, although it has the nickname the Granite State, is largely, somewhere over half of the underlying rock is metamorphic. This is rock that's worn down and then been compressed into a solid form. An example, if you're familiar with Route 9 going into Keene, the cutouts, you'll see classic metamorphic rock. There is a map that will be posted in the readings that shows just how much is metamorphic and not igneous, that stuff that comes from inside the earth. So there is a question about whether using the term the Granite State is false advertising. But we'll leave that for my business law class, which is another whole can of worms. But in any event, the geological history of New Hampshire, I won't take you back 4.5 billion years to the formation of the earth, but New Hampshire's geology, I believe, is an important part of what New Hampshire and its people have become. So watch that theme throughout the class. Here's the first big hint for you, that your first midterm and the final will both have questions about the impact of geology on New Hampshire. So take some interest in it. We have, but about 600 million years ago, a couple tectonic plates, they're what we call firm ground, crashed into each other. And the Connecticut River Valley was formed. Now, you may feel some sort of cultural thing when you go over the Connecticut River into Vermont, but there's also, it is literally a whole different world. The geology usually transitions gradually. This is a sudden change, and we'll see that the Vermont side of the Connecticut River is very different geologically than New Hampshire. New Hampshire ended up, as things went on, spending a lot of time underwater. I mean, millions of years, hundreds of millions of years. And the one of the results was that New Hampshire wasn't given the same amount of sea life, crustaceans particularly, clams, oysters, lobsters, that sort of thing. And the soil ended up being more acid than Vermont's. And in fact, Vermont's soil is generally much better than New Hampshire's. In the 19th century, sheep were a very popular thing in both New Hampshire and Vermont. Eating off native growth, the sheep in Vermont produced something like 20% more wool on the average. So it tells you something a little different. The acid soil, by the way, was good for red and white oak and white pine, which we'll see in the colonial era was really important in terms of shipbuilding. And then there's the matter of the glaciers. Hang on to your hat here, folks. These happened between 2 million years ago and 10,000 years ago. By the way, they didn't kill the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs died off about 65 million years ago when some piece of space junk hit the Yucatan Peninsula and made the world get cold. That's another hint for an exam. So anyway, but the glaciers, huge impact. New Hampshire has very thin soil, and it's rocky because the glaciers kept bringing down all this junk. I think it was everything the Canadians didn't want. That was a joke, by the way. So anyway, but very rocky, very acidy. I don't know if any of you have tried to make a living as a farmer in New Hampshire. I don't know how they do it. Bless them. But anyway, watch that whole thing. Watch how the geology and the soil made New Hampshire, affected New Hampshire's evolution. This is a big deal. So, look, what I want you to do is hang on to your hats, get on the assignments. The presentation, for example, is a semester-long project. Don't let that catch up with you. That, by the way, can be a video or a PowerPoint or something like that. But I need that, and I need the topic for, the topic for that and the topic for the book review. You have your choice between a book review and an expedition. The book review is probably the easier choice under the circumstances, but if you can sneak past the coronavirus police, the expedition might be fun. So anyway, look at the instructions for that. Email me when you pick that topic. I need that by a week from the 11th, so that would be the 18th. In any event, there you have it. Welcome aboard. We're going to have some fun with this. I don't think it'll be quite as much fun as having you live and in person, but I guess it's better than not having you at all. So, anyway, I'm available. My contact information is in the syllabus. Happy to chat with you, and be in touch if you need help with the book. And there you have it. Look at that. I'm almost a minute under my self-imposed deadline. Miracles do happen, if you let them. Thanks. Hey, take care.